excellent. I'm going to share my screen because I've got lots to share with you guys. So, and I want to help you as much as I can. So hopefully you can see the screen. Just give me a little yes in the chat if you can, just to make sure that there's not some technical blip. Yay. Thank you, Rodrigo. Thank you, Nadine. Excellent. Brilliance. Yep. Excellent. Thank you so much, guys. Okay, so welcome, as I already said, to this session. And first of all, I'd like to thank Capsule for inviting me to be here to share how to implement your new CRM with you guys. It's an honor to be here, and thank you so much. So what we're going to do today is cover a few things, and really the aim here is to give you a head start, okay, to successfully implement and use your CRM. And we're going to be covering who I am and why I partner with Capsule, so you have a feeling of confidence in me, hopefully, that I sort of know what I'm talking about. And we're going to have a look at identifying your CRM project goals, which is so important. We're going to look at the components of a successful CRM implementation, absolutely key. And there'll be time at the end for Q&A. So there's a Q&A area of the Zoom webinar, and you can pop your questions in there, or you can pop your questions in the chat. Kasia from Capsule is joining me today, and she's monitoring the chat and the Q&A. So do pop your questions in there, but there will be time at the end for Q&A. So pop them in there, and then we can store them up and answer them at the end. Okay, so introduction. You're probably wondering who I am. Well, I'm Julia Blake, and I set up Blake Consultants 15 years ago. And actually, my goal was then and is now is to help business owners achieve the business they want by having the right systems and processes in place. I want to reduce the feast and famine dilemma that so many business owners experience, because I experienced that in the early days, and it is not a comfortable, it's not a good place to be. It's uncomfortable. And when we're stressed or uncomfortable, we reduce our ability to be creative. And as business owners, we need to be creative, and we need to navigate whatever is thrown at us. And so having the right processes and systems in place reduce that feast and famine. And the typical feast and famine is when we're delivering what we deliver to our clients, we're not doing the business development. So when we finish delivering what we're delivering, we haven't got anything else. We haven't got any work coming in. So there's massive peaks and troughs, and it's really, really uncomfortable. So that's why I started using Capsule myself 13, 14 years ago. And it's why I started helping clients setting them up on Capsule. And when you combine Capsule with an accounts package like Xero, with an email delivery system like Transpond, like MailChimp, then you have, alongside Microsoft and Google, you have the main components of a business, the main components that will help you build those foundations to work on. And CRM is absolutely vital part of that grouping. And I'm really, really proud to say that I am the first ever Capsule Gold Solutions partner. So I'm very proud of that fact. And over the last 13, 14 years, I've actually implemented Capsule CRM in over 350 businesses. So I've seen a lot of different business models. I've seen a lot of business owners and what they want to do with it and what they want to achieve with it. And I'd like to share some of that with you today. So, well, why do I partner with Capsule? There's other CRMs out there. I believe that there is beauty in simplicity, and I think that Capsule is a beautiful system. As well as being simple and intuitive, it's highly customizable, which means that we can make it our own, which is so important. And actually, it can be quite daunting to make it your own at the beginning, but that's why I'm here. That's why I'm helping you today, because actually, once you wrap your head around it, it's not difficult at all to make it your own. And when we make it our own, then we actually emotionally connect with it and we'll use it more. So the other main reason is that it's really reliable. In the whole 13, 14 years I've been using Capsule myself and been involved with it, I've known no downtime, actually. There's been some scheduled work done on a Saturday morning, for example, but no downtime as such. So really reliable. The support team, I don't know if you guys have already been in touch with the support team, but they are amazing. I love them to bits. They are so personable. So patient, so lovely. And I think that's really valuable in a system. Plus, Capsule is really going places. So you may or may not know, but Capsule is owned by a company called Zestia, and they're based in Manchester in the UK. And they are a great team. There's a great team of people. They are privately owned, but they have investments, which means that they can invest in their product and make it even bigger and better. And that's what they're doing. They also have Transpond, which is a email marketing system. So that's a sister company. Do check that out if you haven't already. It's absolutely fantastic. And the way that it integrates with Capsule is absolutely brilliant. So do go and check that out as well. Okay, so what's important here today is helping you implement your own CRM. And what's really important is to identify your goals and then think about what can Capsule give you. So we're going to have a look at that. So first of all, Capsule gives us a contact relationship management system. There's a contact area. So I think of CRMs as contact relationship management rather than customer or client relationship management, which is what it used to be. Okay, and we'll come on to that. But basically, for a business owner, for a team of people, when we think of contact relationship management, then that means that we open up the scope of the software to help us look after other groups of contacts, like suppliers, for example. So we'll be having a look at that. So that's the first main area of Capsule. There are three main areas, and the contact area is the first area, and that's where all of your contacts will reside. Okay, and then the second main area is the pipeline, and managing your pipeline is absolutely key to having a successful business. It's absolutely key to growing your business. So having an amazing place to look after your opportunities and manage your pipeline is absolutely key. And the Capsule pipeline area is one of my favorite areas. Is brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Then the third main area is projects. This has changed over the last couple of years. It used to be called cases. So if you're just coming back to Capsule after perhaps a bit of a break, then this was what was called cases, but it's had a facelift and it's got way more functionality now. It's a really, really useful area. And we use projects to manage what we deliver to our clients. Okay. So let's just pop back to that first main area. So we talked about it being a place where you can store all of our contacts and the relevant information around those contacts. So here we're talking about prospects, we're talking about potential clients, previous clients, but we're also talking about those other groups of contacts that are so key and so important to us. So looking after our suppliers is important. Having a partner program is possibly really important to you, and it's a good thing to think about if you don't currently have one. Thinking about, popping your competitors into the system and having network contacts in there as well. So you'll find that there are different groups of people that you want to have in your system, and they all go into the contact area. And we have people and we have organizations, and people hang off of organizations. So sometimes we want to capture data about the organization, and sometimes want to capture data about the person. And we'll come on to that. Then in the pipeline area, this is where we can create the sales process. Having a sales process is absolutely key, and we'll be talking about this in more detail later. But when you have a sales process, you're reducing the cost of sales. So it's absolutely, and it can be very simple. It doesn't have to be complicated at all. So in this area, we get to manage the individual opportunities along that sales process. And we also get to see the whole pipeline. So you can see what's coming down the track. You can see what's happening over the next few weeks and months. So it's absolutely key to be in this area a lot once you've got it set up. Now let's look at projects. So this is where we can create our delivery process. This is where we're delivering our products or even managing our partner program. We can do various things in the project area. But if we think of it, the main reason for using projects, if you like, would be to manage what you deliver to your clients. And when you have a delivery process, then you're reducing costs. So we can see in the pipeline that we're reducing costs of sale and we're reducing cost of delivery. That, coupled with an increase in revenue because we're contacting the right people at the right time, because we've got a great relationship with them now, because we're looking after them in our CRM, leads to overarching increase in net profit. We're increasing revenue, decreasing costs equals an increase in net profit. So don't underestimate the different aspects and how they all tie in together. So not only can we create our delivery process within projects, we can also manage the individual deliverables. So we can give our clients that great service because we've set out what that process is. We have a tried and tested process, which we have in Capsule in the form of tracks, and we can make sure that our clients are given the best service possible because we've taken some time out and thought about how we can really look after our clients. And then we get a new overview of the whole of the projects area. So we can see all of the deliverables, and that's so important when we're thinking about managing our time, not over-promising and then letting clients down. So a really good area. Projects is fabulous. So actually, I was going to ask before we move on, which of these areas have you guys currently looked at, or have you tried to set up? Which of these areas are you actually using in Capsule? So we've got a nice poll here. So just you can tick one or many. So I can't vote in this one, but I would be ticking all of them. So do just pop an answer there, and then Kasia is going to share the results in the chat, because as a panelist I don't get to see what the results are, but I'd be really interested to know how you guys are using it. So let's have a look and see what's coming up there. Oh, 78% of you are using contacts so far. That's brilliant. Excellent. Hopefully we'll get the other 22% using it by the end of the session. 37% pipeline. Yep, that's understandable, because what we find is that we really do need to set up that contact area, or sometimes I call it the data bank, first before we start moving on to the pipeline area. So that's good seeing you guys are all relatively new to Capsule. So yeah, so Emma, thank you. I'm very new and need to learn how to use all the functions, absolutely. And hopefully today will help you with that. And 21% of you are using projects. So yeah, we often find that projects is the last area to set up on Capsule, and that's understandable and that's logical, and that's in many occurrences that's the right way of doing it. So good to see that 21% of you are using projects, and hopefully by just even the description that I've used so far, then that might encourage some of you the other what is it, percentage, 79%, yeah, to have a look at projects and see how that can work for you. 32% are using all of the areas, so thank you for that. Yep. And yeah, absolutely, this webinar is very much geared towards people that have signed up recently, new users. So it's good to see that those percentages there. And now I know how to position this webinar as well, and where you guys need help. So thank you for sharing that. So let's move on to the next screen, the next slide. So what are the components of a successful CRM implementation? Now, I've seen this, witnessed this time and time again. I work on a project basis, so I help people set up their CRMs from scratch. And I also work on a consultancy basis where I go in and help people make more of their CRM. So I can see the ones that I can see people that haven't thought of these components before they've gone straight in. And I'm guilty of this. I have a tendency to dive straight into new systems and go, oh, this is really exciting. I want to do this and I want to do that. But actually, to have a successful CRM implementation, it's really important to have a think about these areas. Okay. So the first thing we really need to think about what our ideal client looks like. We need to really think about the customer journey. A CRM is all about lines in the sand, and the customer journey will be different for each of you, but there'll be lines in it. There'll be breakpoints. There'll be places where the customer journey is around the prospect, it's around the actual client, and it's around the previous client. So we'll be talking about the customer journey. It's absolutely key. And we want to think about productizing your service. And that can be quite tough for service-based business owners. but it's really important when you're setting up and implementing a CRM. So we'll be looking at that as well. And then we'll be thinking about who else are you in contact with, because we want to get those guys into the CRM if that's appropriate as well. So let's have a think, first of all, about the first of those four, identifying your ideal client. Take a step back. I will say this time and time again during this session, take a step back, close down your tech, have a think about your ideal client. Think about what role they have. Think about their personality types. Think about the location. Think about who do they work for. Think about their aspirations. But most importantly, what keeps them awake at night. Think about what keeps them awake at night, because it's what's keeping them awake at night. That's the problem that you're offering a solution to. So it's really important that you step into their shoes and you really think about some of these aspects, but mainly what keeps them awake at night. Okay, and all through this presentation, I'm going to give you some hacks. And this first hack is around the ideal client, obviously, because it's on that slide. But the hack is to visualize your ideal client. Actually visualize, like maybe you think of them sitting opposite you at a table. Bring them to life as much as you can. This is what we call an ideal client avatar. And then if you name them, that actually brings them to life even more. Now, the reason for doing that is that when we're talking in our social media posts, in our content, when we're setting up our CRMs, we're thinking about that person. Let's just pretend they're called Joe. So we're thinking about Joe. What keeps Joe awake at night? Where's Joe working? Is Joe hanging out on LinkedIn or on Instagram or Facebook? What aspirations does Joe have? What type of business do they work for? Are they a business owner themselves? That type of thing. And what we do is we talk to Joe within our content. And what happens then is we stop the whole scattergun approach to sending stuff out. And we trust that the person that needs to see that post will see it, because the content that we're sharing is resonating with our ideal client, and they're going to be more likely to see it. And then when they recognize that they have a need, then they'll think of us to provide the solution to the pain that they're experiencing. Okay, so it's really important. It sounds a little bit weird, but go with it. See how it works for you. Okay, next we're going to think about mapping out the customer journey. So on the very left-hand side, think of it as a linear process. Very left-hand side, we've got unknown prospects. You know, they might be out there in the universe, they might be totally unknown to us, or they may be just on the peripheral of, we may know them slightly type of thing. Then that moves all the way through to potential clients, and then that goes all the way through to happy clients. Of course, happy clients are advocates for us. Happy clients talk about us. Happy clients are happy to share their experience of working with us. And that's where we can think about referrals and recommendations, and the attracting more of the same people to us, the people that have the same problems. You know, if you have a happy client, they might be at a networking event, they might be chatting about something. Somebody else might say, oh yeah, I've got that same issue. And then they say, oh, we'll talk to so-and-so. So we are really the whole time striving to get happy clients. So part of the customer journey is the sales process, and part of the customer journey is the delivery process. Okay, so think of this as the sort of the big chunk in the middle, if you like. So as I said earlier, sales processes don't need to be complex, but you do need to nail yours. You need to think about it, because it's what goes into the pipeline area of Capsule. The milestones in Capsule, maybe these areas that I'm going to share, and then the tracks that we have to help us move opportunities along that pipeline. They will have tasks with them that actually help move the opportunity along, and there are things that we need to do that. So the first part of the sales process might be the inquiry. Now, one of the things that I do see fairly often is people are unsure where and when to create the opportunity within their own system. So what I always recommend is, when there's a conversation about an actual piece of work, then create an opportunity and move that opportunity along from the starting point, the inquiry, all the way through to the close of the sale, if you like, when that person is going to be working with you. And if you do that, then you don't clog up your opportunities, your pipeline, with too many opportunities that are just a little bit too far over to the left-hand side of your customer journey. Okay, so the first thing might be inquiry, and the second thing probably would be qualification. Maybe you jump on a call or have a meeting with that person that has that problem, that need that you're offering a solution to, and you're qualifying them to make sure that there's a fit. You then might send out a proposal. And actually, the current thinking is to actually deliver a proposal in person on a call, not necessarily face to face, rather than send it over to your potential client. I understand that there's a much better success rate doing that. So do think about that, adding that into your sales process if that's something that you can do. And then there may be some negotiation around that. But what we're aiming for next is the verbal agreement. And then we're aiming to get that contract or the services agreement out and get that signed. And all of these things can be built into Capsule. And these 5 components of the sales process are probably what your milestones are going to look like within your own pipeline area on Capsule. So let's have a look at delivery. Well, the first thing probably when you've had that contract signed, you may have generated an initial invoice, for example, would be to do some onboarding. And that could be some housekeeping, general admin on your side of things. It could be actually setting up stuff with the client as well. And we can capture all of that within Capsule. So Capsule has a great area, task categories, and we can make those task categories our own. And we can have send proposal or contact nurture. And we can add those task categories into our tracks on Capsule to encourage clients to move through the whole customer journey. Okay, so have a think about that. That's a really good way of bringing the system to life for you. So we have milestones in the pipeline area. In the projects area, which is where we manage our delivery process, we have stages, but we can think of them in the same way. They are steps to go from onboarding all the way through to delivery. So we might have these stages with onboarding, kickoff, delivery, which, you're thinking about a project probably sitting here for a little while longer than in the kickoff session, but that's okay. And then we might review the project, the work together with the client. Then we might offer some element of support. And then we might sign off that piece of work. And of course, there's various tasks around signing off. We might at this point ask to see whether our client would be happy to do a case study or a recommendation, write a recommendation. Any of those things all can be captured in the delivery process. And all of those things can be captured in Capsule as tasks within the track to support your projects. So here's another hack. So this is really, really important. Schedule some time, shut everything down. Do not get carried away by tech. Close it down. Have a whiteboard or some paper. Go old school, have some coloured pens or post-it notes. Just immerse yourself. It will pay off. It really will pay off. And it's a fun thing to do. So do think about doing that before you even get stuck into those areas on Capsule. So the next thing to think about is productizing your service. And this can be quite difficult sometimes for people, but it's really, really key. It's really key. It's all about creating boundaries. So create some boundaries around what you're delivering, because otherwise what you're delivering is different each and every time. It's not consistent. And as you get busier and busier, you might drop the ball. And so somebody might have a bad experience. So create some boundaries, and then it will help you have a start and a stop. So the product starts here and then it ends here. Box it up, really box it up. Have, nice box around what you're offering, and think of it as a tangible thing that you can actually move. It will really help you implement the CRM successfully. Okay, so got a couple of hacks here. Visualize, this is the box. Visualize a perfectly wrapped gift with a beautiful ribbon around it, and unwrap it and see what's inside. And it's your service that's inside. Where does it start? Where does it stop? What does it give? Okay, and when you've done that, you will find that you will have, in fact, it'd be much easier to have a product staircase. So when we have a product staircase, so we have a client that's on product A, and then there's a natural move to product B, because it's way easier and better to realize the lifetime value of a client rather than get new clients in all the time. And so do think about having a product staircase, and we can bring that product staircase into our customer journey. Okay, so the fourth main thing to really think about one, implementing CRM are the different groups of people that you are in contact with. Okay. And we touched on this before. So who else are you in contact with as well as your clients? Suppliers. Suppliers are so key to us. We might have employees. We might not have employees. We might outsource a lot of stuff to our trusted suppliers. They become part of our team. So managing the relationship with them and having a great relationship with them is really, really key within business. We might have partners, and they could be referral partners or partners that we refer people to. So we want to stay front and center of those people as well, because they're helping us, we're helping them. We might have associates that are helping us deliver our product to our clients. So we want to keep on top of those guys as well. What specialities do they have? Do we perhaps want to capture a day rate so we don't need to ask them every time? Do we want to know what days of the week that they work? Do we want to know where they work? That type of thing. We want to keep on top of networking contacts, especially if you're in a paid networking type of environment, because we want to build those relationships. We want to build that rapport, and so we can pop them into a capsule. So just want to say, do think about downloading the mobile app to your phone as part of the CRM implementation. It's absolutely brilliant. And I was just reminded to say that because when we have phone numbers within our app, then we can click on the phone number, we can make the call. Our normal service provider actually physically makes the call, but we have the ability to capture the date and the time that the call was made. We can then edit that. We can talk into our phones. It gets converted into text, and it's available to all the users on the system. So we can really use the app to do so much. The app is absolutely phenomenal, but a really nice, an extra hack is that it saves time when you're out and about. Just dictate the notes into your phone after a call, and Bob's your uncle, they're there. That was just fantastic. Another hack here, this is the actual hack on the slide, is to look at your diary. If you're not sure who your contacts are, because we don't have room in our brains to keep everything. They would explode, quite frankly, if we did, which is actually one of the main reasons why we have a CRM, is that we can only keep 5 things in our brain at any one time. And when we get distracted or interrupted, then, well, for me personally, I don't know about you guys, but I forget those 5 as well. So when we have something like Capsule reminding us to do things, then we keep on top of things. But have a look at your previous meetings in your diary and think, well, were they a partner? Actually, they were a collaborator and I haven't got anywhere to put them in the system. So maybe I need to think of another group of people. So do look back at your previous meetings and see who you've been in contact with. It's a great way of thinking about the groups of people that you're in contact with. So we have looked at the components of a successful implementation. We looked and thought about your ideal client. We thought about your customer journey. We thought about your services and your contacts. So they are things to really think about before rolling up the sleeves and getting stuck into the system. I can't stress more highly how valuable that will be to really think about those 4 areas. So now we're going to think about actually building the CRM. So this is where we start to think about the actual CRM, the actual product, actually Capsule. Okay, so we can customize it, which is obviously brilliant. We want to be able to do that. And we can do that in a number of different ways. We have custom fields, and custom fields are best used to capture static information. So on an organization, a good example of a custom field is industry. We might have a list of industries. Now, if you specialize, say, in the pharmaceuticals industry, then you want to be able to capture on your CRM that an organization is in the car industry or the manufacturing industry, or because having data often is about excluding data as well as including data. But you may find, let's project ourselves in 6 months' time or a year's time. If we look back and we may think, actually, we weren't in pharmaceuticals. We were actually in food and beverages. So what's going on there? My marketing needs to change, so it gives good analytics. So industry is a very good example of a list field and a list custom field. Okay. On a person, a good example of a custom field might be their role, or whether they're a decision maker. So we can use job titles for roles, but there are thousands and thousands of different job titles out there. And actually, we may have, it may be easier to have a role like L&D director or CEO or business owner. We can also have a checkbox custom field for what that person is responsible for. Maybe they're a budget holder or a decision maker or a project lead or a business owner. So they're good examples of custom fields that we can have on people, because we can have custom fields on people and custom fields on organizations and custom fields on both. Next, we have tags. Tags are the little labels that you see underneath the person's name or underneath the organization name. And they are really, really useful for reflecting the customer journey. So we'd have a tag prospect, we'd have a tag potential client or client potential, because the tags are listed alphabetically. So if you group your client tags together, then do client dash potential. And then when that client converts into an actual client, we might have client dash active or client dash current or client dash live. Any of those are just brilliant. And then when the work is done, that tag is removed and a tag client previous is added to that contact, to that organization. So you can see there that really reflects the customer journey. And we might also do that with partners. We might have potential partners, current partners, previous partners. That would be current potential, partner current, partner previous. And then they are grouped as well. And really what's happening there, you've got two CRMs in one. So you can see how this whole implementing a CRM could really be built out depending on your business model. Then we have data tags. These can often be confusing, and they are understandably confusing, but they don't have to be. Data tags look the same as a tag. They're applied at the same place. But what happens when a data tag is applied? Another screen pops up, and that contains some custom fields that we've set up behind the scenes in account settings that only relate to that data tag. So we might have client active as a data tag, and we might want to record which of our productized services we are currently delivering to them. We might have product A, B, and C. So we'd have checkboxes for product A, product B, product C, and we would tick that. So product A, product B, product C will only pop up if we apply the data tag client, live, or active. And then we can analyze that. So we can go into our CRM and we can see how many clients are currently receiving product A. And we can think about marketing product B to them because we are thinking about our product staircase. Another good example of a data tag is networking. So we might turn networking into a data tag in account settings, and we might have just one custom field there, which perhaps is a free text one, which is which networking event. So which networking event will only pop up on our screen if we tag that contact with the data tag networking. So I hope that helps. So we build the CRM using custom fields, tags, and data tags for each of these three main areas that we've touched on: contacts, pipeline, and projects, because we have different custom fields, different tags, different data tags available to us for contacts. Then we have a whole new group of custom fields, tags, and data tags available for us in the pipeline. And we have a whole new group of custom fields, tags, and data tags available to us in the projects area. So in the pipeline, a good example of a custom field might be source of opportunity. In the projects area, a good example of a custom field might be date of kickoff meeting, or it might be date of session 2, something like that. So we can really make this very simple CRM much more multi-led and much more sophisticated by using custom fields, tags, and data tags. When we do all of this, we are helping ourselves emotionally connect with the CRM, and that is so important. We want to be switching on, logging in. Capsule is one of the first things we do every single day. We want to build that habit. If we struggle to build that habit, then just pop a reminder into your email, your calendar, and just until your brain develops that habit, then that's a good way of doing it. but we want to be in Capsule as much as possible. We want to be using it as much as possible. And there's a couple of ways that we can really make sure we do that. We can integrate our email with Capsule. That means that we are working much more closely and storing relevant information. We can add our logo to Capsule, and we can even change the color of the ribbon at the top and change the font into our brand colors. And all of that is helping us use the system because we're becoming emotionally connected with it. Always keep the future in mind when you're developing a CRM. What is your 1 year goal, your 3 year goals? Think about what information do you want to get out of the system in 6 months, in a year, in 3 years' time, because we build the CRM as best we can with that in mind. So coming back to industry, if it's really, really, really vital that we're in pharmaceuticals, we want to start capturing that information now. So we want to create a custom field for that. No good going in 6 months' time. I mean, this does happen, it will happen, but we want to avoid it happening as much as possible. In 6 months' time, we want to say, oh, I've got that information, rather than, oh, blast, I wish I'd captured that information. Okay, so keep the future in mind. Oh, summary. Okay, so we have looked at the importance of identifying your project goals. What do you want to get out of the system? Where is your business going? What does it look like? What do you want to use it for? We've looked at the components of the successful CRM implementation, who your ideal client is, what does the customer journey look like, productizing your service, and what other contacts are you, who else are you talking to day to day, week to week, month to month? Who else do you want in the system? And that was a whistle stop. I've got no idea what the time is. So thank you so much, everybody. It's been an absolute pleasure to share all of this with you. I hope it's been helpful. Thank you again. Bye, everybody.